There's a lot of doom and gloom around the Sixers because, Joel Embiid's health is up in the air. Paul George is just an annoying human being, to be frank. But something to be positive about is Daryl Morey has done a very nice job reloading the core for life after Joel Embiid. By no means is it perfect, but there's something there to work with, and they're going in the right directions in terms of consistently finding talent with not only talent, but also the right mentality. I mean, think about it. There is a stark difference between the mentalities of the young core now compared to the previous era. I mean, the guy 5 years ago was Ben freaking Simmons. VJ, Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, although they don't have the raw talent and potential of a prime Ben Simmons, clearly their best attribute and skill is their work ethic off the court. And also, throughout the whole entire Joel Embiid process era, clearly Joel Embiid was not ready to be a leader. It just wasn't natural to him. If you read that article about him, clearly he's got personal things going on off the court that he was dealing with through that entire time. Ben Simmons as a leader, come on now. My point is Tyrese Maxey just naturally brings guys together. You see that this offseason he's constantly in the gym with Trendon Watford, Justin Edwards, VJ. He's been in the gym with pretty much every single teammate. That has been missing. Now, it's hard to judge how that really affects the team because you can't see it, but it's clear that type of stuff is a foundation of a lot of championship teams. You can tell the Thunder very close on and off the court. I think most mainstream NBA fans, even casual Sixers fans who don't follow it as closely as we do, believe there's no hope outside of Joel Embiid, which quite frankly is pretty fair, considering the record without him in the past couple seasons. But you also got to keep in mind, Daryl Morey and the Sixers, they were only focused on life with Joel Embiid. I think finally you're seeing a shift in their mindset. They, of course, still have hope that he can return, and if he does, the Sixers can go anywhere, or at least be a playoff team. But it's also pretty clear they're focused on if Joel Embiid can't come back. And honestly, I believe they're in a better situation than a lot of quote-unquote rebuilding teams. So let's break down the young core. Personally, I believe for a player to be considered in a young core, they got to be 25 or younger. I also have 4 categories to help get a better idea of how good the Sixers young core is. It all starts with superstar. I think this is the big thing missing for the next iteration of the Sixers, that superstar. That's why it hurts, missing out on Cooper Flagg last season, because he could have been that guy. And as I hype up this young core, it is fair to say this is the hardest thing to find, but also it's the most important thing to find. Next category is potential stars. I got 24-year-old Tyrese Maxey headlining that group for the Sixers, 21-year-old Jared McCain, and then 20-year-old VJ Edgecombe. This already puts them ahead of a lot of losing teams that have been stuck in rebuilding mode. I mean, do the Wizards actually have a star on their roster? Alex Sarr? Maybe. Cam Whitmore if you squint. I believe in Bilal Coulibaly more than both of those players, to be quite honest. Maybe AJ Johnson as well. For as long as the Wizards have been bad, it's pretty crazy that the Sixers' young core is just as good. And you can make an argument they're better. So my third category out of 4 is role players. I see 2 potential high-end role players on the Sixers, 21-year-old Justin Edwards and 22-year-old Adem Bona. Actually, I forgot someone because he's currently unsigned, but the Sixers should be signing 25-year-old Quentin Grimes, who hopefully becomes the Sixers version of Derek White. Now, who can be a solid role player? I think 24-year-old Trendon Watford fits in that category. And then my last section of a young core would be deep bench guys that can play a role every now and again, but they're not going to be high leverage minute players. 23-year-old Jabari Walker, who I really believe in, I wouldn't be surprised if he grew into a role player. I think he's in a perfect situation. I mean, the Sixers have been horrible in terms of rebounding for years, and that's his bread and butter. That's what he's great at. And then 22-year-old Dominic Barlow, I don't see him breaking out of this category, but I think he can be a usable regular season player if injuries occur. Once again, what this young core is missing is a Joel Embiid, a younger version of him. I really wonder how hyped up the Sixers would be if you just replace Joel Embiid with a young guy like Victor Wembanyama. Could you imagine Maxey and McCain growing next to that rim protector? I mean, they would be running dribble handoffs for days and Wemby can pop to the perimeter. It would be ridiculous. The funny thing about the Spurs is I think they're kind of making the same mistake that the Sixers did at times in terms of, the core fitting, like De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper doesn't really make sense. And then you got Stephon Castle on top of that. And you got Jeremy Sohan in there, who also is not a great spacer offensively. They got a bunch of talent, but in terms of fit, it doesn't align perfectly. And I think for them to take the next step, Wemby's going to have to turn into that top 3 player. I digress. Let's go to Basketball Index to showcase what some of these young players are bringing to the table. I'm going to stick with the lesser known players because I've talked about Maxey, Jared McCain, VJ, Quentin Grimes in-depthly before on this channel. Starting out with Justin Edwards, 6'7", so he has size and he really can do a bunch of things. He's a willing defender, matchup difficulty B+, meaning he's consistently guarding great offensive players. So it's impressive that he grades A- as an isolation defender. He really just has to clean up his ball screen navigation and he's going to be an all-around defender. Gives them versatility as well, B+ for defensive positional versatility. On a winning team, ideally, his role is going to be catch and shoot, and if they close out hard, beat them off the dribble and make the correct passes. If needed, well, guess what? Catch and shoot 3-point shooting talent, B+. On top of that, mid-range talent, A-. He can occasionally get that pick and roll and do something with it. He can go outside his role if needed, which is always nice, especially in a playoff scenario. Now, in terms of getting to the rim and finishing, he's nothing special. C+ finishing talent, but as you can see, definitely potential to be a two-way role player. Next up, Adem Bona will be a great option to be the backup big next to Joel Embiid. And during the regular season, you can get away with him starting if you have the proper talent around him. Interior defense, rim protection, A. Rim disruption, A+. Rim deterrence, B. Help defense talent, A+. Post defense, C, but that doesn't really matter because who posts up in the modern NBA? Embiid and Jokic, and that's pretty much it. Screener mobile defense, A-. Screener rim defense, B-. Those last two categories are basically how does he do in the pick and roll defending it. He graded well as a rebounder, which is nice for the Sixers. Defensive rebounds per 75 possessions, B+. Defensive rebounding talent, B-. Definitely room to grow in that area. But offensive rebounding, he's stellar. Offensive rebounding talent, A. Rebounds per 75 possessions, A. Rebounding crashing skill, B+. Rebounding conversion skill, B-. Putback scoring impact per 75 possessions, A. Putbacks per 75 possessions, A+. He's on his way to being a very high impactful, high motor big off the bench, and potentially maybe he grows into a starter one day. Jabari Walker, this dude is a rebounding machine. Defensive rebounding, A- across the board. You could make the case he's the best rebounder already on the Sixers next season. His offensive rebounding grades are just as good. The problem with him, 3-point shooting talent, C-. That has to improve for him to find a role on a winning team, but he's also a quick decision maker, A-, which will set him apart from other role players such as Kelly Oubre. He's nothing special by any means, but considering what the Sixers lack, rebounding, that in itself might get him on the court consistently. And at times last season, you just say to yourself, oh, he's a winning basketball player, and the advanced numbers back it up as well. In 749 minutes, they had a positive net rating with him on the court. Meanwhile, in the minutes without him, negative net rating. Let's go to Trendon Watford. He's really going to bring a scoring element outside the star players. Nobody's really going to have him on the scouting report, but he can cook you at any given night. He can give you 20. That's the role I envision him on the Sixers moving forward. Rim shot creation, he graded A+, and that's a rating indicating a player's ability to self-create shot attempts at the rim. On top of that, finishing talent, he was A-. The one-on-one category across the board, you see a bunch of A's. Then lastly, he brings some passing, which is nice considering he's 6'8". His scoring is going to be huge without Paul George and Joel Embiid when they miss time, but also in the games they have those star players on the court, he has the ability to randomly go for 15 to 20 points. And compared to the start of last season, there's more of that on the roster. Quentin Grimes, Justin Edwards, even Jared McCain, because last season we had no idea what Jared McCain would be in his first season. For me, heading into next season, it's not even about doing anything crazy because the likelihood of Embiid being healthy just isn't likely. But I'm looking for improvement without him because although they don't have the name value, I think the Sixers are in a way better spot without him than the last 2 seasons.